Hi everyone, this is Dr. G. Maruti Prasad Yadav. So this session is all about design of center crankshaft, taking the position of the crank at maximum twisting moment position. Okay, so already the previous session is regarding the position of the crank when it is under action of maximum bending moment. Now this case it is at some angle, the crank is at some angle from the line of action of piston so that it results in maximum twisting moment. So let me start the design. And in order to understand this one, first you please do refer that video so that you get the clarity how we can find out how we can design each and every part of crankshaft. Please do watch that part 1 first, where the design of center crankshaft taking the position of crank at maximum bend moment is presented. So then it is easy to understand this part. If you have a look at this diagram, this is the center crankshaft, and this position of the web means this position of the crank is at maximum bending moment position. This is not the position of the crank at maximum twisting moment. This is the position of the crank at maximum bending moment, which was there in the video 1. So I have to look at this one. Actually this is what I have represented, the position of piston pin when piston is at TDC. This is the position of piston pin. This piston may be somewhere here, something like this. So this is the piston pin when piston is at TDC. When piston comes to BDC, this is the position of piston pin. So piston pin is connected to small end of connecting rod, crank pin is connected to big end of connecting rod. So this is the big end. So when piston is at TDC, that is when it is at dead center, then it is under action of maximum gas load, where it results in only bending load and bending moment on the crank. So it is under maximum bending moment condition, where the position of crank web would be like this as shown in this diagram, during which the connecting rod is from here to here. From here to here is connecting rod, and this is the crank. So when it moves downwards, then this crank rotates like this. So when it moves from TDC to BDC for one complete stroke, this will make half revolution. When it takes reverse stroke, during which it takes the remaining half revolution. So 2 strokes results in 1 complete revolution of crank. This is how the motion will be. Now have a look at this one. The position of crank when the twisting moment is maximum on the crank. That is possible when crank is at some angle from the line of action. Means I will show you. It makes some angle by the time it tilts like this. After some angle, this is the crank making some angle theta with the line of action. So by that time this piston pin moves downwards so that it is in some inclined position. So this is the connecting rod. So connecting rod makes some angle pi. So the pi is the angle made by the connecting rod, and theta is the angle made by the crank. So this is the crank position, this is the connecting rod position. Means after some angle from the dead center, where the tangential force on the crank is maximum, so that it results in the position of the crank under action of maximum twisting load or twisting moment. So during which this is the force acting on the crank pin. This is the force acting on the small end of connecting rod. So this force will be always downwards, that is Fp, and that Fp equals to pi by 4 d square into pressure developed in the chamber. In the previous case, means for this position, we calculate pi by 4 d square into P, where P is the maximum pressure. But when piston is at top dead center, the pressure in the chamber is maximum, highest. But by the time when it moves some distance, by the time when crank makes some angle, the pressure in the chamber is less than the maximum pressure. So that's not again P dash. P dash is the pressure in chamber in this position. Pressure in the chamber in this position. So this is the force developed. This force we have to resolve along the connecting node, along the axis of connecting node, like this, along the length of the connecting node. So we can resolve it like this. So this angle is phi, so that this is Fp sin pi and this is Fp cos phi. This is Fp cos phi, this is Fp sin phi, the resolution of P. So therefore, the force developed here, develops here, the force in this direction means force acting along the connecting node is equals to Fp cos phi. So this force acting in this direction is equals to Fp cos phi. That we can take as Fq. Fq is the now force acting on the along the connecting node. So therefore, so where Fq is the force acting along the connecting rod, that is equals to the piston force, that is equals to pi by 4 d square into P dash, not P, because P dash is the pressure at this moment when crank is at some angle, when piston already moved some distance from TDC. So therefore this will be less than maximum gas load. So this is Fq. Now Fq is acting along the connecting rod like this. So this force is acting here on the crank wheel. So this is the crank wheel. Clear or not? Now see. Now listen carefully. Listen carefully. When web is like this, as I said, when the crank is like this, means web is like this and piston load is maximum. This is the position. Now, as I said, now crank is at some angle from dead center, so that finally the twisting load is maximum on the crank wheel or crank. So that means by that time the crank has to make angle of theta. Means here crank web, this web I have drawn vertically. This is this part. Means for maximum bending moment condition, it should be vertical. Now for maximum twisting moment condition, it should be at some angle. Means this entire shaft, it tilts. This shaft entire part tilts, so that this web also tilts up to some angle. So let me redraw these two webs. There is no change in the shaft. Shaft only rotates. Either from here to here, completely rotates. So these two webs, it rotates, it tilts up to some angle. Redraw this web position. Okay, then only can understand. So have a look at this one very carefully, because if you can understand the system of force, then it is very easy to understand the design part. Look at this one very carefully. In the previous position, that is when crank is at the position under action of maximum bending load, bending moment, this web portion is exactly vertical. This is vertical axis I have mentioned, V axis, vertical axis. Please understand very carefully, even though I am taking much time even for the explanation of this diagram itself. Why? Because if this is clear, then this design part is very simple to understand. The entire effort we have to put to understand the system of forces. If it is clear, then everything will be clear and easy. So earlier this web is vertical, so this is along the vertical axis, this is the horizontal axis I have taken. Means this T1 plus T2, the belt tension is acting along horizontal axis, and whereas the weight of flywheel is acting along downward vertical axis. Along the horizontal axis, this is acting T1 plus T2 right side. And earlier in the previous position, when crank is at maximum bending moment position, then it is vertical, so that Fp is vertically downward along the vertical axis, acting downwards. Now what happens is this is tilted. This web is nothing but this crank. It made some angle. It made some angle with line of action with vertical axis, that is theta. So it is at some angle. If you take that axis, please do look at this one very carefully. So this is the crank direction, means this direction, which is making angle theta. So this angle is theta. Now, in the previous case it is vertical, now it tilts up to angle of theta. So, this is the direction on the crank. Clear? Okay, look at this one. At the center of crank, earlier we took FP. The previous case we took FP acting vertically downwards, here like this. But now actually it is not the load acting on the crank pin. Now the load acting on the crank pin is FQ. When crank is here, connecting rod is here, this is connecting rod, this is crank, then this is FP. Directly the same load is acting on connecting rod. Through connecting rod, the same load is acting on crank pin vertically downwards. But now it is some angle. It is at some angle. Therefore, this is not applicable. Listen carefully. Whatever the load acting on the crank pin is equals to FQ, and that too it is not vertically downward. It is at some angle. See here. At some angle it is acting. At what angle? Angle of pi with respect to vertical direction. That if you want, you can represent with respect to vertical direction. Okay. Now see here. This FQ is acting here. This FQ is acting here. As I said, this is web. This is nothing but this web. This web is this. Okay. Now, because of FQ, if I extend this one, let me erase this one. If you take it like this, now this is FQ, which I can resolve. This is the direction of FQ, line of action of FQ force, that I can resolve along the crank, means along the crank like this and perpendicular to the crank. This is FT. So I can resolve this force along the crank and perpendicular to the crank. Along the crank is called as a radial force. Okay, it results in compression of this web portion crank, and whereas this is nothing but tangential force perpendicular to this crank results in rotation. Now here the same to FT and FR I can mention, and this angle is theta plus phi. If you can analyze the diagram, you can get it theta plus phi. That's the angle. Now we'll get the same here. So this is FR. So this is FR. Okay. And FT is like this, means which is perpendicular to this. So perpendicular to this means this axis I have drawn now. Let me take this as y axis. Let me take this as y axis. So perpendicular to this, we have to take x axis. X axis. So perpendicular to this web, I am taking x axis. So that's why along the x axis we have FT, means along this direction. FT. Is it clear or not? FR is acting along y axis, FT is along acting x axis. These two are perpendicular to each other. Where this y axis is making theta with vertical axis, because the web as this crank has tilted up to theta, so the web has tilted up to theta. So this new y axis is making angle of theta with previous vertical axis, and therefore x axis is perpendicular to y axis. If it is clear, then we can proceed. It is very easy hereafter. What? Because the system of force is very important. If we analyze it perfectly, clearly, then obviously design part will be very simple. So look at this one. Finally, what are the forces acting on the crank and crankshaft? One is FQ. is FQ value, where FP into cos pi, how means we can resolve it. So this FP we can resolve along the connecting rod length direction and perpendicular to this. So this will result in development of bearing pressure in piston pin. So no need to consider here. And whereas this results in pushing force on the connecting rod, which is transmitted to crank pin. So finally which results in crank and crank pin force and crankshaft force. So this is what. Now see here. Okay. Now the total force is acting on the crank and crankshaft are three forces. One is FQ acting at some angle. The other is, second one is weight of the flywheel acting vertically downwards, and the other is T1 plus T2 belt tension acting horizontally right side. So this W direction has not changed when compared to previous position. T1, T2 also not changed. Only FQ is the value which is changed. The load acting on crank pin, which is the maximum gas force FP in the previous case, now it is FQ, which is acting at some angle now. Now this FQ I have resolved into FR and FT. Now let us find out the reactions and let us analyze where the reaction forces develops, in what direction it develops, and then we will see how to find out those values. Find out the reactions. Because of FR, which is supported on two bearings, bearing 1 and bearing 2, two reactions develops. That reaction is, this is acting downward along y-axis. This FR is acting along y-axis downwards. So reaction at bearing 1 bearing 2 is along y-axis upward. So along y-axis, this is the y-axis direction. Upward. So this is R1Y, and here it is similarly along y-axis. R2Y, reaction at second bearing along y direction, like this. Now because of FT, which is acting along x-axis, which is also supported on bearing 1 and bearing 2, two reactions develops along direction of x-axis. So along direction of x-axis, this is x-axis, this is x-axis, it is acting in this direction. So reactions are in opposite direction. So this is x-axis. Okay, reaction is here. Like this. This is R1X, and similarly reaction because of FT at bearing 2 is along x direction. Along x-axis, FT is like this, so reaction is opposite. R2X. Clear? Now, because of W, reaction at bearing 2 and bearing 3. Because of FT1 plus T2, reaction at bearing 2 and bearing 3, which are same as that of in the previous case. That is when we consider the crank at a maximum bending moment position. There is no change at all. What I will explain once again. This is W is acting downward, which is along vertical axis, V-axis. This is V-axis. Therefore, because of this, reaction at 2 is vertical upward. So it is acting along V-axis, not y-axis, it is vertical axis. So therefore reaction is along vertical direction, reaction at 2 because of W. Similarly at 3. So because of W, reaction at 3 is because it is acting vertically downward, along V-axis downward. So reaction is along V-axis upward. Now reactions because of T1 plus T2. T1 plus T2 is acting along H-axis, horizontal axis. Here, this is vertical axis, this is horizontal axis, this is y-axis, this is x-axis. Two are different. So this is horizontal axis. It is acting horizontally right side. Then reaction will be horizontal axis left side. So horizontal axis left side here. Horizontal left side. That we can take it as R H, R2H. And here also you can take like this. Horizontally left side, that is RTH. So now we analyze the force system. So totally what are the forces acting and what are the reactions developed because of FR, R1Y and R2Y at bearing 1 and bearing 2, because of FT, R1X, R2X at bearing 1 and bearing 2, because of W, two reactions, vertical reactions, R2V, R3V, because of T1 plus T2, R2H, R3H, which are along horizontal axis. Okay, so let us start the design part, where we have to design the crank pin, that is the crank pin diameter and length. Next, crank web cross section, width and thickness of crank web or crank arm. Next, we have to find out the shaft under flywheel, the shaft diameter under flywheel. Finally, we have to find out the cross section diameter of the shaft at the junction of web. So let us start with the crank pin. So look at this one, crank pin, it is here. It results in bending because of FR and it results in twisting because of FT. So it is under action of bending load because of FR. It is under action of twisting load because of FT. Actually, now bending moment because of FR. Bending moment because of due to FR radial load. FR is the radial load, FT is the tangential load. So bending moment acting on crank pin is equals to, as usual, if you take the diagram here, so it is like this. So because of which we have to consider the bending moment acting here. So I have drawn this one along x and y axis. This is y axis, this is x axis. If you take in this one, it look like this. So then bending moment equals to, at this cross section, you can take either left side or right side one. If you take left side, it is equals to R1y into distance from here to here. So distance from here to here is up to here, it is A2, and here to here is A2 and A1. So you can take it as R1y into A2, or otherwise we can take it like this. Either you can take this one or you can take right side. So you can take either of these two, the final value will be same. And then bending moment is this one, and because of which bending stress develops. And at the same time it results in twisting, that torque equals to also the crank pin is under action of the torque, which is equals to Ft into R. So where R is this one. If this is the shaft and here to here, this is R. So from the axis of crank pin to axis of the shaft, that is the R. So that is equals to into R. So this is the torque developed on the crank pin, and this is the bending moment developed on the crank pin. So due to which we can take the equivalent torque. So as all we know that torque T by J is equal to tau by R. From that relation, T is equal to pi by 16 tau d cube. So from which equivalent torque is equal to pi by 16 dc cube, diameter of crank pin cube into allowable shear stress of crank pin material. So from this you can find the diameter of crank pin. So after getting the diameter of crank pin, so we can find the length of the crank pin either using the bearing pressure condition, or else directly we can take this one. This one. You can check its safety, whether it is safe or not, taking the bearing pressure actually. bearing pressure is equal to the force acting on that one dc into lc. This is the Fr by dc into lc. Allowable bearing pressure of crank pin and the radial force acting on crank pin divided by diameter of crank pin into length of crank pin. If it is not safe, this means the bearing pressure, if it is less than allowable pressure, then if it is less than allowable pressure, then it is safe. If not, we can increase the length somehow so that until it will be safe. Okay, crank pin is completed. Let's move on to the crank web. So we can do for actually in the previous video that is a position for maximum bending moment position. I have explained both for right hand web and left hand web, but actually one web is sufficient. If you look at this one, looking at this force system, you can identify that right hand web is under maximum loading condition than the left hand web. So that let us design for right hand web. The same cross section we take for the left hand web also. So let us start with the right hand web. So right hand crank web. So we have to find out its width W and its thickness T. So this is the width and this is thickness of web. Okay. Now the web is under action of bending stress because of Fr, bending stress because of Ft, and direct compressive stress, and also torque. So let us see how to design it. Thickness and width can be taken directly from in terms of crank pin diameter, that is so we can take thickness of the web as equals to 0.7 times of crank pin diameter and width we can take it as 1.2 times of crank pin diameter. Now let us check whether these dimensions are safe or not. If not, in what way we can increase or change it. Okay, let us see the bending stress because of Fr, radial force. So due to Fr, bending moment develops. M suffix R, bending moment because of radial force. So if you look at along the y-axis, bending takes place. Along the y-axis, bending takes place. So if you see in this way, we can have a look at this one. This is the load Fr at the center of crank pin, and these are the reactions along the x-axis. And bending stress we want to find out at where exactly at the center of the web, means half of the thickness on either side. T by 2. So exactly the middle we want to find out. Okay, now you can take the force on this side or force on this side. This is A2, this is A1. So let us find out now. The constant cross section is this one. Exactly center of the web, means web thickness is T. So T by 2 on either side, exact center we take. Now to find out the bending moment, you can take the force on the right side or force on left side. Force on right side is only one force is there. Force on left side is Fr is there and R1y is there. So let me take right side. Then bending moment equals to R2y into distance from here to here. Okay. R2y into distance from here to here is A1, and from here to here is this is LC by 2. So A1 minus LC by 2 from here to here, again half of the thickness, minus T by 2. So this is how we can find out the bending moment, or otherwise you can take left side left side we have two forces, that is R1y into distance from here to this cross section, that is A2, plus from here to here it is A2, next from here to here it is LC by 2, plus half of thickness of web, minus, because about this cross section this is acting upward, so it is clockwise movement, and because of FR counterclockwise movement, so FR into distance is from here to up to center of the web, so therefore this is how we can find the bend moment, and therefore bending stress equals to sigma br, bending stress because of radial force equals to mr by z. Here z equals to, so bending is taking like this, this is bending like this, so therefore bending is like this, the web bending is in this direction, therefore one side, if this is the web, it bend like this, so this side is under compressive, this side is under tensile, finally whatever it is bending is like this, so cross section is W into T, so therefore W Q by 2 by T by 2, distance of foremost fiber from the center axis, so therefore WT square by 6. So this is how we can get the sigma BR. Okay, so now we got sigma BR, that is the bending stress developed because of radial force. So that is completed now. Now let us find the bending stress developed because of tangential force Ft. So bending stress developed in the crank web because of Ft. Okay, so m suffix t is the bending moment because of tangential force. To understand this, we have to see in the side view. So if you look in this view, if you see from this side, the web is like this, where crank pin is here. This is the axis of the shaft, this one. Axis of the shaft, this is the axis of crank pin. So from here to here it is R. So this is W. Web thickness perpendicular to this body is thickness T. Carefully, this is R. So this dot represents axis of the shaft, this one. And this dot represents axis of crank pin. Crank pin. So distance from here to here is R. Now force where it is acting? Here it is acting. So Ft is acting here. This is Ft. So what is happening here? This is leading to bending like this. Leading to bending. This is the web. It leads to bending like this. Bending like this. Means in this direction. So it bend like this. Clear or not? Like this. So finally bending moment is equal to force into distance. So Ft into R. Okay. Now bending stress because of tangential load equals to by Z. Here Z equals to. Now this time it is bending like this, all of here. The thickness is here, perpendicular to this board. So bending is taking like this. So you have to look from here. This is T, this is W. Look at this one. So this is T, this is W. So it is bending like this. So we have to take this one. So we have to take moment of inertia about this axis. Then it is TW cube by 2 by W by 2. So finally this is T, this is W. TW cube by 2 and again from this axis, this side is under compressive, this side is under tensile. So you take extreme fiber, the distance is W by 2. So finally TW cube by 12 by W by 2. So from this you will get this one. Okay. So now we got bending stress because of tangential load. Clear? Already we found the bending stress because of radial load, bending stress because of tangential load. Clear? So Mr by Z, where Z is equal to Wt square by 6, that is a bending stress because of radial force Fr, and this is the bending stress because of tangential force Ft, that is equals to Mt by Z, where Z is equal to Tw square by 6. So now we got these two. Now third one is direct compressive stress. Now direct compressive stress. This is equals to, now we are doing for right hand wave. So for right hand wave, along the y-axis, reaction is R2y. So therefore R2y force is acting. So it leads to compression. We are doing for right hand wave. So when it is for right hand wave, from the cross section, right side we have only one force, that is the upward force R2y. Left side to the cross section we have upward force R1y, downward force Fr. So you see here, if this is the wave, this side it is R2y, and if you take this side we have R1y Fr. So finally, because of these forces, all the forces toward the left side, the downward resultant force is Fr minus R1y, downward, upward. So this is downward, this is upward. So the resultant force acting here supported is Fr minus R1y. Because of this one, which are forces at the right side, which is R2y. So Fr minus R1y is nothing but R2y itself. So this is R2y. So this is also R2y. So finally it is a direct compressive stress, which is R2y. So R2y by cross section area. This cross section of this web is W into T. We got finally three stresses. One is the bending stress because of radial force, bending stress because of tangential force, and direct compressive stress, this one. Okay, everything is completed now. This is Mr by Z, where Z is equal to Wt square by 6. This is Mt by Z, where Z is equal to Tw square by 6. This is this one itself. And adding all three, because towards one side of the fiber, it is under compressive nature, the bending stress. The other side is tensile nature. So we are taking for maximum stress condition. Therefore, we will take the extreme top left fiber of this web, so that the nature of the stress, bending stress because of radial load, because of tangential load is compressive itself. So adding all together, final. Okay, therefore the resultant compressive stress equals to the compressive nature of bending stress due to radial load, compressive nature of bending stress due to tangential load, and direct compressive stress. And in addition to that, it also results in torque. Now let us find out the torque or torsional shear stress. First let us find out torque, then torsional shear stress because of that torque. So to find out this torque, let us have a look at this one. We have to take the top view of this right hand wave. This is bearing 2. Bearing 1. This is F2 because it is a top view. Top view along y-axis. Along y-axis, top view along y-axis. If you look from here, we can see only T. Because top view along y-axis, reaction at bearing 2 is R2x, R1x. So this is how it is looking from top view along y-axis. So here this is under twisting because of these forces. Because this force acting here, this force acting here, it results in twisting. So like this. So let us have a look at this one. the torque equals to, now we have to take the cross section of the center, actually from here to here is A1, this is A2. So you take the right hand wave, we are taking right hand wave, so exactly the center of the wave. So therefore from here to here, this is half of crank pin length LC by 2, and this is equal to half of the thickness of wave T by 2. Now the torque equals to, either you can take right side or left side, so you will get it. So I am taking right side because only one force is there. The torsional moment is R2x into distance from here to here. This distance we have to take. So A1 minus of LC by 2 minus of this thickness. So this is how we can get the torsional moment, or otherwise, or also because from this cross section we can take right side or left side. If you take left side, there are two forces are there. One is Rnx, the other is Aft. So about this cross section from the center of the wave, the moment because of R1x is clockwise, moment because of Ft is counterclockwise. So let me take R1x into distance from here to up to this. So that is equals to A2 plus LC by 2 plus T by 2. So this is clockwise, and counterclockwise because of Ft minus Ft into, so Ft into distance from here to here. So this is LC by 2 plus T by 2. So you can take any one of these two, finally you get the torque. So from this, the shear stress developed because of this torque is equals to T by Z suffix P. Here Zp equals to polar section modulus, means if you take this axis and this axis or different, we should not take the axis along direction of thickness T on direction of W. Now we have to take the along the length of crank web. So this is polar section modulus, that is equals to polar moment of inertia divided by y, nothing but the distance of foremost fiber from the axis about which it is twisting. So therefore if you take Zp equals to Wtq by 2 this, so polar section modulus is you can get it actually polar moment of inertia divided by distance of foremost fiber from the axis of twisting. So this is the moment of inertia when we take the axis along the width of the wave, and this is the moment of inertia taking the axis along the thickness of wave. So therefore this is third axis, means polar moment of inertia. This is polar moment of inertia divided by distance of foremost fiber from the axis about which it is twisted. So this is web in top view, this is, it gets twisted along this axis, about this axis. Therefore foremost fiber is distance of W by 2. In this one actually we have taken like this, thickness we have taken 0.7 times of diameter of crank pin, width we have taken 1.2 times of crank pin diameter. So therefore from this we will get W equals to approximately 1.7 to approximately times of. So from this we will get width is equal to 1.72 times of thickness. Substituting this here, So we have to substitute W equals to 1.72 times of thickness. Then we'll get it like this. Means this W I can take 1.72 T into this thickness equals to W by whole cube by 12 plus this I can keep as this whole divided by W by 2 means again 1.72. So no problem. Again whole divided by W by 2. So like this. So solving this one, finally we'll get ZP equals to, from this finally ZP equals to T into W cube by 4.5. So therefore here finally this right hand crank web is under action of direct stress, which is compressive nature, adding together sigma Br, sigma Bt and sigma D. There is a compressive bending stress because of radial force, compressive bending stress because of tangency Ft and direct compressive stress. Adding together, this is the final resultant direct stress developed on the web, and this is the shear stress. So therefore finally maximum stress means maximum principal stress is equals to sigma C by 2 half into square root of sigma C square plus 4 tau square. This is a general formula. So this value should be less than or equal to allowable stress of that crank web material. So if it is less than allowable stress, then we can say these dimensions, thickness of crank web 0.7 times of crank pin diameter, width of the crank web 1.2 times of crank pin diameter. So these two dimensions are safe. If not, then what we have to do? If we got the maximum stress which is more than this one, then in that case we have to increase W. We have to increase that W value so that cross section area increases, thereby the stress will decrease. So then we have to increase it until this sigma maximum should be less than the allowable stress value. So crank pin is completed, crank web is completed. Let's move on to shaft under flywheel. So left hand crank web also we can take the same dimension we got for right hand web, keeping in view the balancing, or else you can do for the even left hand web also. Whichever you got the higher dimension, that we have to apply for both the webs. Let it be. Now coming back to shaft under flywheel. So have a look at this one, shaft under flywheel. We have to find out the safe cross section diameter of shaft which is under flywheel. So if you take here, it is under bending. So you can take the forces on the right side or left side. This part of the shaft, which is between bearing 2 and bearing 3, it leads to bending because of W and because of T1 and T2, only these two forces. So we have to consider from bearing 2 to bearing 3, bearing 2 to bearing 3. So if you take bearing 2 to bearing 3, this cross section exactly, to find out the bending moment, you can take the forces towards the right side or left side. So any one side is enough. And if you look at the right side, there we have two reaction forces, R3H acting in horizontal direction, R3V acting in vertical direction. So we can find out the result of these two forces. So this is the resultant force, means you can get resultant force like this, somewhere here like this. So bending moment is equal to that resultant force into distance from here. So that is fine. D1. So this is the moment, obviously, and at the same time it is under action of torque. So the torque is equals to Ft into R. Into R. So because of which equivalent torque equals to m square plus t square, and that in turn equals to pi by 16 ds cube, and this is equals to pi by 16 ds cube into tau. So tau is the allowable shear stress of the shaft material, and ds is the diameter of shaft under flywheel. So this we can get it. Okay. So now crank pin is completed, crank web is completed, shaft under flywheel is completed. The last one is shaft at the junction of crank web. So this is shaft where it is connected to web. So I am taking the, so let us find out the diameter of shaft which is where it is connected to the right hand web. Means this cross section here exactly where it is connected here, which may not be visible exactly, the back side where it is connected here, that cross section if you take, okay, this cross section of the shaft where it is connected to the web, it leads to bending as well as twisting. So let us start with the bending, then twisting. So if you start with the bending, it results in bending along two planes, two directions. That is bending along y direction, bending along x direction also. Let us start with bending along y direction or x direction. If you start with bending along x direction, means along this plane, along x axis. So from this cross section, you can take right side or you can take left side. So that we can see in top view. So this is how it looks like. This is how it looks like. So we want at this cross section exactly here. Here we want actually. Here we want to find the bending moment. So you can take either right side or left side. If you take right side, only one force is there. R2x into this distance. Into this distance is A1 minus, from here to here it is LC by 2 minus this thickness. This entire thickness is web thickness. So this is how you can get it. Or otherwise, so you can take left side. Left side two forces are there, R1x and Ft. So you can take algebraic sum so that we can get it. R1x into distance from here to here up to here, that is equals to A2 plus LC by 2 plus T. This is moment is counterclockwise. This is moment is clockwise, and moment because of Ft is counterclockwise minus Ft into distance from here to here, that is LC by 2 plus T. LC by 2 T. So you can take any of these two formulas. This is a moment along the x direction. Now let us take moment about y direction. So now for this purpose we have to look from this side. Then it is how it looks like. These are the two waves, and this is the reaction. R1 weight bearing 1, R2 weight bearing 2, and load is Fr. Now we want the moment to find out at this cross section. So this is the where the shaft is connected to web. So from this cross section, you can take the right side or left side. Right side only one force is there. Therefore, R2y into distance from here to here. This is A1 minus of this value is LC by 2 minus this thickness of web is T. This is one, or otherwise you can take left side. Left side we have, this is one force, this is another force. Therefore, R1y into distance from here to this cross section, up to this cross section. This is entire distance we have to consider. So A2 plus from here to here it is A2, again LC by 2 plus thickness of web minus, because this moment is clockwise moment and moment because of FR is counterclockwise, into, so distance from here to here, that is LC by 2 plus T. Okay, therefore this is the movement along X direction, this movement along Y direction. Therefore the result movement equals to square root of mx square plus my square. So this is the final moment which is developed at the cross section of the shaft where it is connected to web, and at the same time it also under the action of torque, that is equals to Ft into radius, because Ft we have to see the side view. When we see the side view, then we can see, so this is the point where it represents the axis of the crank pin. This is the point where crank pin axis. This is the point where it is axis of the shaft. So this is where Ft is. So Ft into distance from here shaft, that is equals to R. So therefore Ft into R. So this is the torque. Therefore finally the shaft at the junction is under action of bending moment M and torque T. Therefore equivalent torque equals to square root of, this is general formula we know, and this in turns equals to so equivalent torque is equal to pi by 16 ds1 whole cube into tau. Here tau is the allowable shear stress of shaft material. So from this you can find the diameter of shaft at the junction of web. So finally we found the dimension of crank pin, diameter and length of crank pin. The second is crank web cross section width and its thickness. We have checked it whether safe or not. The third one is we found the dimension of shaft under the flywheel, and finally this is for the shaft diameter at the junction where it is connected to the web, right hand web. So the same shaft diameter you can take even to the left hand junction also, left hand web junction also. So this is all about the design of crankshaft taking its position at maximum twisting moment. Thank you for watching.